Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Life Channel, where we practice natural English through real, meaningful conversations. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Alex. Sarah, can I tell you something?
Of course. What happened?
Last week, I was explaining something in English during an online meeting when I suddenly forgot one simple word. I knew the idea clearly, but the word would not come.
And that one missing word interrupted everything.
Completely. I stopped in the middle of the sentence, my mind went blank, and for a few seconds, it felt as if I had forgotten all my English.
Even though you had been speaking clearly just before that.
Exactly. One moment earlier, I felt comfortable. Then I forgot one word and immediately started thinking, I can't do this. My English is not good enough.
What did the other people do?
They simply waited. They did not laugh, correct me, or become impatient. But the silence felt so long that I panicked and started using more and more words without explaining anything clearly.
So the missing word was not the biggest problem.
No, the biggest problem was what I told myself after I forgot it.
That happens to many English learners. One word disappears, and suddenly they feel as though all their progress has disappeared with it.
Later, I realized that I had options. I could have paused, explained the idea differently, or simply admitted that the word had disappeared.
And that is exactly what today's episode is about. How to build real confidence in English. Not by remembering every word, but by learning how to pause, recover, and continue.
So, confidence does not mean speaking perfectly.
It means trusting yourself to keep communicating when something goes wrong. Today, we'll practice how to begin when you feel nervous, recover when your mind goes blank, correct mistakes calmly, and express your opinion clearly. Before we finish, I'll also show you a simple 4-part confidence note that can stop you from replaying one uncomfortable moment for hours.
That same lack of confidence can also stop us before we even begin. That happened to me again this week when I wanted to ask one simple question in a group chat.
What were you trying to ask?
Our building manager posted in the neighborhood group chat that the water would be turned off in the morning for maintenance. There was no exact time, so I typed, "Does anyone know what time the water will be turned off?"
Nothing confusing about that.
It felt clear for about 3 seconds. Then I started wondering whether everyone else had understood the post, and whether my question sounded too direct. I rewrote it 4 times.
4 versions for one missing time?
I was giving the sentence a full editorial review.
And did you send any of them?
No. 10 minutes later, another person wrote, "Do we know the exact time?"
Shorter than every version you wrote.
Much shorter, someone replied. Good question. And the building manager said the work would begin around 9.
So nobody judged the sentence.
No one cared about the grammar. They only wanted to know whether they could take a shower before 9.
Here is one practical rule. When a message is clear and useful, review it once, then follow through.
One review, then send.
Exactly. Ask, will the other person understand what I need? If the answer is yes, send the clear version before your mind creates 10 new problems.
I was second-guessing myself.
Right. To second-guess yourself means to doubt a decision you already made, often without a strong reason. You had already written a clear question. The confidence problem appeared at the final step, pressing send.
And another person did it before I could. The result was completely ordinary.
That ordinary result matters. Fear created a dramatic scene in your mind, but real life gave the group a 2-line reply and moved on.
So I did not need a stronger belief. I needed a smaller decision.
Exactly. And even if someone misunderstood you, you could clarify. Confidence is not about guaranteeing that nothing will go wrong. It is about trusting that you can respond when something does.
That connects the unsent message and the missing word. In both situations, the goal is to stay present and continue.
As you listen, think of one English message, question, or conversation you have been delaying because you are worried about making a mistake. Keep that situation in mind while we practice.
Good, and let's keep this practical. No long speech about becoming fearless.
Agreed. I have met a few people who were very good at pretending to be fearless.
Fair point.
Let me ask you something. When you hesitate before speaking, what happens first?
I notice the opportunity, then I imagine the worst response. Then I search for a better sentence. Then I realize the moment has passed.
That entire process can happen in less than 10 seconds.
Easily.
I had a similar moment at a community workshop last month, except I was not deciding whether to send a message. I was deciding whether to walk through a door.
You almost left?
I came very close.
Now I need that story.
I arrived early, which I thought would make me feel calm. Instead, it gave me extra time to stand outside and question every choice that had brought me there.
What kind of workshop was it?
A weekend public speaking workshop. I had registered because I wanted to learn how different people handle nervousness. But when I reached the entrance, I could hear people talking inside. Suddenly, it felt like a private event where everyone already knew each other.
Even though you had registered?
Even though I had paid to be there.
That should have settled it.
Logically, yes. Emotionally, my brain had another plan. I touched my phone and thought, I could pretend someone is calling. I could walk away, wait 5 minutes, and never come back.
You created an escape plan before anyone even spoke to you.
That was the strange part. Nothing bad had happened. No one had rejected me. No one had looked at me. The whole problem existed in the few feet between me and the door.
So what finally made you enter?
A volunteer looked through the glass, saw me standing there, and opened the door. She smiled and said, "Hi, are you here for the workshop?"
That removed your chance to disappear quietly.
Completely. I could say yes and walk in, or pretend I had been studying the door for architectural reasons.
Beautiful door. I visit it every Saturday.
I said, "Yes, I'm Sarah. It's my first time here."
That was all you needed.
Very simple. She said, "Great, come in. You can sit anywhere." The moment I had worried about so much was over in about 7 seconds.
Did you feel confident after you said it?
Not immediately. My hands were still cold and I was still aware of everyone in the room, but I had crossed the hardest point. I was no longer deciding whether to enter. I was already inside.
So the action came first.
Yes, confidence followed the movement. I worked up the nerve to take one step.
To work up the nerve means to gather enough courage to act while you still feel nervous.
Exactly. You do not have to wait for fear to disappear, and if the situation requires honesty, you can say, "This is my first presentation in English, so I'm a little nervous, but I'm ready to begin."
That sounds honest, not weak, because the sentence acknowledges the feeling and then moves forward. What happened after you sat down?
A man beside me introduced himself. His name was Marcus. He asked whether I had attended one of those workshops before. I said, "No, this is my first one. I'm a little nervous, actually."
And?
He said, "Me too. I almost stayed in my car."
So the confident-looking stranger had his own escape plan.
A minute earlier, everyone seemed comfortable, except me. Then I learned that someone else had been nervous enough to consider leaving.
We compare our private fear with someone else's public face.
And that comparison is unfair because we can see our own thoughts, but not theirs.
What helped you enter besides the volunteer opening the door?
A prepared opening line. Before I arrived, I had decided that if someone spoke to me, I would say, "Hi, I'm Sarah. It's my first time here."
You did not prepare a full conversation.
No. The first sentence only had to carry me through the doorway.
That is different from how I prepare. I want my first sentence, my next 3 sentences, possible questions, and a perfect ending.
And while you prepare all of that, the real conversation continues without you.
That was uncomfortably accurate.
Try a simpler method. Prepare the first line, notice one detail in the response, and ask one natural follow-up question.
Let's demonstrate it.
Imagine we are waiting before a meeting. You begin.
Hi, I don't think we've met. I'm Alex.
Hi, Alex. I'm Sarah. I joined the marketing team last week.
Welcome. How has your first week been?
Busy, but everyone has been helpful.
What kind of projects are you working on?
I'm helping with a new social media campaign.
That sounds interesting. What part are you working on?
I'm helping organize the content schedule. And notice what happened there. You followed what I actually said, so the conversation gave you the next step.
I did not have to invent everything alone.
Listening reduces the pressure to perform.
There is one thing I still worry about. A prepared line can help, but what if I wait too long and the moment disappears?
Use a small commitment before you enter the situation. Decide, when I reach the door, I will speak within 3 seconds. Or, when the manager asks whether anyone has questions, I will raise my hand before I rewrite the sentence in my head.
3 seconds sounds strict.
It is not a punishment. It interrupts the internal debate. You are not forcing yourself to give a speech. You are only choosing the first visible action.
So the first line creates a few seconds to organize the next idea.
Right. And if you need more time, say, let me phrase that more clearly.
I like that. Enter, listen, and repair if necessary. But what if the other person gives a very short answer?
Ask one natural follow-up question, or let the exchange end. Not every short conversation is a failure. The other person may simply be busy, tired, or quiet.
So I should judge whether I entered the conversation respectfully, not whether I controlled the other person's response.
Exactly.
I can think of a place to use this. There is a colleague in another department I see almost every morning. We always nod, but we have never spoken.
What will you say?
Hi, we see each other almost every day, but I don't think we've introduced ourselves. I'm Alex.
That gives the conversation a natural reason to begin.
Then I listen instead of planning a speech.
That gives you a plan. But earlier, you mentioned losing one word during an online meeting.
Yes, that was the moment I told you about at the beginning.
What were you explaining?
My manager had asked me to give a quick project update. I had notes. I had practiced. I unmuted myself and spoke clearly for about 20 seconds.
And then?
I looked at one person's face on the screen, forgot the word I needed, and felt my mind go completely blank.
Completely blank?
Completely. I could remember that I had a point. I could not remember what the point was.
What did you do?
I panicked and started filling the silence. I said, "So, yes, the project is moving forward, and there are several things happening, and we're working on those things right now."
Those things must have made everyone feel informed.
My colleagues probably felt deeply reassured.
Did the words help you remember?
No. The more I spoke, the farther I moved from the actual update.
What were you supposed to say?
The design team had completed the first draft, but we were waiting for the client's feedback before starting the final version.
So the real message was actually simple.
It was clear in my notes. On the call, I kept talking around it until my manager asked, "Alex, are we waiting for the client now?"
He found the main point for you.
"Yes," I said. "Right. That is what I was trying to say."
How did you feel afterward?
Embarrassed. Not because I lost my train of thought, but because I made the moment much longer than it needed to be.
What would you do differently?
I would stop talking.
That may be the most practical answer you have given today.
I used to think silence made me look unprepared. Now I think nervous, meaningless speech can create more confusion than a short pause.
A pause feels longer to the speaker than it does to the listener.
2 seconds can feel like 20.
The listener may simply think you are choosing your words carefully.
But if I say, I forgot, won't that destroy my credibility?
Not if you repair the moment calmly. Try this. I lost my train of thought for a second. Let me check my notes.
When you lose your train of thought, you suddenly forget the idea you were explaining.
Yes, and that sentence buys you a moment.
Meaning, it creates a little time to think.
Right. You are not escaping the conversation. You are creating enough space to return to it.
I want to hear the meeting again, but this time with the repair.
Go ahead.
The design team has completed the first draft. We are now... I lost my train of thought for a second. Let me check my notes.
Then you look down.
We are waiting for the client's feedback before beginning the final version.
That version is shorter and easier to follow.
It also feels less embarrassing because I know what to do after the blank moment.
That is the important shift. You are not trying to prevent every imperfect second. You are learning how to recover.
Give me the 3 most useful recovery sentences.
Let's practice them. Listen first, then repeat each sentence slowly.
I lost my train of thought for a second.
Let me say that more clearly.
Give me a moment to check my notes.
Now let's place one inside a complete response.
Let me say that more clearly. We need 1 more day to finish the report.
Starting with 3 is enough. Too many phrases can become another thing to remember when you are nervous.
Exactly. Now let's use them in a real situation.
Imagine I am your manager. Alex, why is the report late?
The report is late because the final numbers were... Let me say that more clearly. We received the final numbers yesterday, so the team needs 1 more day to check them.
I say, could you finish by Thursday?
Give me a moment to check my notes.
You check.
Yes. Thursday afternoon is realistic.
That feels more natural because the phrases are connected to a real situation.
I wish I had practiced that before my meeting. I still would have felt nervous, but I would not have felt trapped.
And that is the difference recovery language can make.
I noticed something else. None of those sentences says, my English is terrible.
Because the language problem is temporary. You do not need to turn one missing word into a judgment about your entire ability.
I do that sometimes. I make one mistake and then act as though all my English is terrible.
Compare these 2 responses. First, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I said that. My English is terrible today. Sorry. Let me try again.
That makes the listener manage my embarrassment too.
Exactly. Now the stronger version. Let me say that more clearly. We need the report by Thursday.
The second version keeps attention on the message.
One brief apology is enough when an apology is necessary. Then correct the information and continue.
What about using the wrong word?
Correct it naturally. For example, the meeting is on Tuesday. Sorry, I meant Thursday at 3.
That is clear because the listener hears the correction immediately.
Exactly. The mistake appears, you repair it, and the conversation continues.
This changes the goal. Instead of trying to prevent every mistake, I can practice recovering from ordinary mistakes.
That is the kind of practice that creates freedom.
Could we try a schedule example?
You begin.
The training session will be on Tuesday at 3.
Then you check the calendar and realize it is Wednesday.
Sorry, I gave you the wrong day. The training session is Wednesday at 3. I'll send the calendar invitation this afternoon.
The listener gets the right day and knows what you will do next.
No long excuse.
Because the excuse is usually less important than the accurate information.
These repairs sound manageable when the listener is patient. But what happens when the other person is already annoyed?
I once gave a client the wrong appointment time over the phone. I told her the appointment was at 10 in the morning. When I looked at the calendar again, I saw that it was actually at 1 in the afternoon.
3 hours later.
3 hours.
What did you think?
Explain everything before she gets angry. I wanted to tell her that 2 appointments had similar names. The office had been busy, and I had opened the wrong calendar.
Were those things true?
They were, but they were not the most useful information.
What did you say?
I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong time. Your appointment is at 1 in the afternoon, not 10. I'll send you a confirmation message right now.
And she said,
That is inconvenient. I had already arranged my morning.
that was not the calm response I was expecting.
No, she was reasonably frustrated.
What did you do then?
I did not defend myself. I said, I understand. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. I can check whether we have an earlier opening, or we can keep your 1 o'clock appointment as scheduled.
So confidence did not make her happy.
Confidence did not control her reaction. It helped me stay clear while she was unhappy.
That is important. Sometimes advice makes it sound as though direct communication always receives a friendly response.
It does not. You can communicate well and still hear disappointment, disagreement, or irritation.
What if the other person remains annoyed even after I offer a solution?
Then, confidence may feel less satisfying. You listen, repeat the useful information, and accept that you cannot force immediate forgiveness.
Can you show me?
Suppose the client says, "This has disrupted my whole day." I could answer, "I understand why you're frustrated. I'm sorry I gave you the wrong information. The earliest available time is 11:30. Would you like me to reserve it?"
You do not argue with the emotion.
No. I acknowledge it, state the available option, and avoid making promises I cannot keep.
That sounds calm, but not passive.
Because owning a mistake does not mean accepting unlimited blame. It means being responsible for your part and helping with what you can actually change.
So even an imperfect ending can still be confident.
Yes. The measure of confidence is not whether everyone is pleased. It is whether you communicate responsibly without disappearing, attacking, or inventing excuses.
What did she choose?
She asked me to check for an earlier opening. I found one at 11:30, and she accepted it.
So you owned the mistake.
Yes, to own the mistake means to accept responsibility clearly instead of hiding it, blaming someone else, or pretending it did not happen.
Some people think confident people never admit errors.
I think confident people are often better at admitting them because they do not treat the mistake as a threat to their entire identity.
That changes how I think about admitting mistakes.
It is also practical. I made an error. Here is the correction. Here are the options.
Let's compare 2 versions.
Go ahead.
Weak version. I'm really sorry, but I think there may have been some confusion because the calendar was busy and I may have looked at the wrong line, although I'm not completely sure how it happened.
What time is the appointment?
I still have not said it.
That is the problem.
Stronger version. I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong time. The appointment is at 1. I can check for an earlier opening.
The correction comes first, and the listener knows what can happen next.
The stronger version has fewer words, but it does more work.
Confidence often removes unnecessary language. Nervousness adds explanations, softeners, and repeated apologies because we are trying to control the other person's opinion.
I do that when I disagree with someone, and sometimes my real opinion disappears completely.
You over-explain?
Constantly. Last week my team was discussing a project deadline. Everyone wanted to finish by Friday, but I knew the final review would not be complete.
Did you say that?
Eventually, my manager asked for my opinion, and I said, Friday could possibly work, and I understand why everyone prefers it, and maybe I'm being too cautious, but there might be a small chance that we need more time.
What did you actually believe?
Friday was unrealistic.
Your message disappeared under all the qualifiers.
I was afraid that saying it clearly would make me sound negative.
So you tried to protect everyone's feelings before giving them the information they needed.
Yes, my manager finally asked, Alex, are you recommending a different deadline?
What did you say?
Yes, Monday would be safer.
5 seconds after almost a minute of preparation.
Painful, but accurate.
How could you answer next time?
I don't think Friday gives us enough time, because the final review is still incomplete. I suggest moving the deadline to Monday.
Now I immediately understand your real concern.
I still worry that it sounds too strong.
I disagree. Strong is not the same as rude. You gave a reason and a solution. You did not attack anyone.
Could I soften it slightly?
Yes. I'm concerned that Friday won't give us enough time because the final review is still incomplete. Could we move the deadline to Monday?
That feels more natural for me.
Then use it. Confidence does not require you to copy someone else's style. It requires you to make your meaning visible. What happened in the real meeting after you said Monday would be safer? Did everyone agree?
No. One colleague said, Monday is too late. The client expects it by Friday.
So the conversation did not become easier just because you were clear.
My first instinct was to retreat and say, okay, forget it.
Did you?
No. I said, I understand that the client expects it by Friday. My concern is that we will send work that has not been fully reviewed. Could we send the draft Friday and the final version Monday?
You stayed in the discussion and offered another path.
My manager accepted it.
Notice what confidence did there. It did not win the argument. It kept you in the discussion long enough to find a workable option.
So confident communication can include disagreement, listening, and adjustment.
Yes. It is not a performance where you deliver one perfect sentence and everyone applauds.
Good, because that almost never happens in meetings.
Especially the applause.
I think learners sometimes use too many phrases like, maybe, I'm not sure, perhaps, and this is just my opinion.
Those expressions are useful in moderation, but too many can hide the main point. Listen, I may be wrong, and this is only a small thought, but maybe we could perhaps change the schedule.
We are so happy you are here with us today.
Now listen, I suggest changing the schedule because 2 tasks are still incomplete.
Much clearer.
To over-explain means to give more explanation than the situation needs, often because you feel nervous, guilty, or afraid of being misunderstood.
Is over-explaining always bad?
No. Context matters. A complicated decision may require detail. The problem is not length by itself. The problem is using extra words to hide the main point.
That distinction helps.
Try this 3-part structure. Your main view, one reason, and a practical suggestion.
Main view, Friday is too early. Reason, the final review is incomplete. Suggestion, let's send the draft Friday and the final version Monday.
Yes, and the main point stays visible. Let's practice one complete version slowly.
I'm concerned that Friday won't give us enough time, because the final review is still incomplete. Could we send the draft Friday and the final version Monday?
Clear view, one reason, and a practical next step.
What about social situations? Suppose a friend invites me to an event and I do not want to go.
You could say, "Thank you for inviting me, but I won't be able to come."
No long story?
Not unless you want to share one. You do not need to create an imaginary emergency to justify every boundary.
I'm going to challenge that. Some friends will ask why.
Then you can decide how much you want to share. Confidence includes choice. You might say, I need a quiet evening, or I already have plans. You do not owe every person a detailed defense.
So clear does not mean cold.
Right. You can be warm without becoming unclear.
Recovering during the conversation helps. But what do I do when I replay one harmless sentence for hours afterward?
That is where the confidence note I mentioned earlier can help.
Sometimes I replay a sentence while I am trying to sleep, even when the other person probably forgot it immediately.
I do that too. Our minds can replay one uncomfortable moment and ignore 10 conversations that went well. The confidence note is not a list of general compliments. It is a record of specific moments when you handled something you wanted to avoid.
What do you write?
4 things: what I did, what I feared, what actually happened, and what I can repeat next time.
Give me the workshop example.
I entered the room and introduced myself first. I feared that everyone would notice how nervous I was. One person admitted that he had almost stayed in his car. Next time, I can use the same opening line.
That feels more believable than writing, I am always confident.
Because it is evidence. I do not need to convince myself that I never feel nervous. I remind myself that I have acted while nervous before.
What would my group chat notes say?
You tell me.
I wanted to ask for the maintenance time, but I second-guessed myself and deleted the message. Another person asked almost the same question, and everyone responded normally. Next time, I will review a clear message once and follow through.
That note does not insult you for hesitating. It helps you identify the pattern and choose a different action.
So it is not a record of perfect moments.
Some of the most useful entries begin with discomfort, confusion, or a mistake. The key question is whether you recovered, learned something, or remained in the situation.
I like that, because it gives me proof of self-trust.
Confidence becomes easier to believe when you can connect it to something you actually did.
Let's test the expressions before we finish.
All right. Use lose your train of thought.
Yesterday, I lost my train of thought, so I bought a new train ticket.
That would solve a transportation problem, not a speaking problem.
Let me try again. During my presentation, I lost my train of thought, checked my notes, and continued.
That sounds like something you could really say. Try second-guess yourself.
I wrote a clear email, but I second-guessed myself and waited an hour before sending it.
And finish with follow through.
I decided to introduce myself, so I followed through before I could create an excuse.
There is a pattern in every example.
The action continues.
That may be the most important idea in this episode. Confidence is not always a powerful beginning. Sometimes it is a calm continuation.
You forget a word, and you continue.
You give the wrong information, correct it, and continue.
Someone disagrees with you, and you stay in the discussion.
You feel nervous at the door, enter anyway, and continue.
None of those moments is perfect.
But each one shows that you can remain present.
I used to think confident people controlled every moment.
Real confidence is often the ability to respond when you cannot control the moment.
So, what should listeners do today?
Choose one small action that nervousness has been delaying. Make it clear and specific.
It could be sending a message, asking a question, introducing yourself, sharing an opinion, or correcting something you said earlier.
Write the exact sentence you will use.
For example, Hi, I don't think we've met. I'm Alex.
Or, I gave you the wrong time. The meeting is at 3.
Review your sentence once, then follow through.
Afterward, write down what you feared and what actually happened. You may discover that the real situation was much easier than the one you imagined.
I don't have to be perfect. I only have to stay present and continue.
Think of one situation where that sentence could help you today.
Then tell us in the comments what action you are going to take and the exact English sentence you plan to use.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us. If this episode helped you feel more confident, please give the video a like.
Subscribe to English Life channel and turn on notifications so you can continue practicing natural, useful English with us.
And share this video with a fellow English learner who may be afraid of making mistakes or speaking up.
One simple share could give someone the confidence to keep learning and continue speaking.
Keep listening, keep speaking, and remember that one uncomfortable moment does not define your English ability.
Confidence grows every time you remain in the conversation.
Now click on the next video on your screen and continue practicing with us.
We'll see you there.
Take care, everyone.